Hello and welcome to another exciting new episode of Talking About Stoicism. We are going over the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and we have landed in Book 12. This really is the tail end of Book 12, the final of the books, and I really enjoyed section 26. When you fret at any circumstance, you have forgotten a number of things. You have forgotten that all comes about in accordance with the nature of the whole, that any wrong done lies with the other. Further, that everything which happens was always so in the past, will be the same again in the future, and is happening now across the world. That a human being has close kinship with the whole human race. Not a bond of blood or seed, but a community of mind. And you have forgotten this too, that every man's mind is God, and has flowed from that source, that nothing is our own property, but even our child, our body, our very soul have come from that source, that all is as thinking makes it so, that each of us lives only in the present moment, and the present moment is all we lose. There's a lot here, but I think there are some outstanding remarks. We can get nervous. And I remember a long time ago, this was, I want to say I think it was my second year of studying psychology. I had a test, an exam, and I think it was in the evening, so I had kind of the whole day leading up to it, and then at some point I had to be in Amsterdam at the university and had to write that test. And I remember being a bit nervous about it, and I distinctly remember, and this was an important insight, dramatic pause for a sip, it was dramatic insight that I suddenly thought, you cannot worry. You cannot worry because the worrying will not change anything. You have prepared, you have studied for a long time, you've gone over your notes, you've now done what you can. You're going to write this test. And what will happen will happen. This was all the preparation you could do. There isn't anything else you can do. And the sense of relief was massive. Huge relief. Of just thinking, yeah, I've done what I could. And I passed the test, by the way. I remember that. And with quite a good mark, too, if I remember. Anyway, the point is, worrying doesn't solve anything. Worrying doesn't solve anything. Fretting does not solve anything. Doing something about it, that solves a problem. But fretting does not. Worrying does not. So I think what the Emperor is getting at here is that there are a couple of things that we tend to forget and that then make us worry. And I think that there are some incredibly strong and powerful points here. You have forgotten that all comes about in accordance with the nature of the whole. A very Stoic concept. The universe is this one whole organized system. Now, you can have lengthy discussions about what that means, because you can interpret that as sort of a divine thing, like there's a god or gods who arrange everything, or there's fate or a destiny or that kind of stuff. But to me, I kind of look at it as certain things will be. They will be. And this is tied, I think, again to that Stoic fork of control, right? The Stoic fork of some things are within, some things are outside of your control. If something is within your control, you shouldn't worry because it's in your control. If something is outside your control, you shouldn't worry because it's outside of your control, and nothing you will do will change that thing. It's difficult to use that argument properly and not fall prey to indifference. Oh, nothing I can do, so it doesn't matter what I do. That's not what it's about. If you can do something about it, you have to do something about it, right? You can't use it as sort of like an excuse to just not care about anything. Anyway, things will be the way they are, and if you can ask yourself, is this something that I can control, as in the case of me and my exam? Well, I couldn't really control the exam. I could control my preparation, though. I was fully in control of that, and I prepared as well as I could. And as a result, I like to think I did well in that test, right? But any wrong done lies with the other. If people do wrong, they do wrong, and you may or may not be able to control that. But given that you cannot control the actions of others, some wrong will be done, and that's the way it is. This I find a very comforting thought, and I sometimes remember that when I'm struggling with something, and then every time I find this a huge relief. Further, that everything which happens was always so in the past, will be the same again in the future, and is happening now across the world. Most of the things we go through affect us and feel bad to us, but when you think about it, in the history of humankind, many people have gone through that thing too, what you're going through now, whatever that may be. Loss of a job, maybe loss of a partner, maybe loss of a family member, for example, as more severe examples, right? This has happened to people all over the world. All over the world. And does that make it any easier? In some ways, I feel that it does. Because all these other people have struggled with the same feelings and emotions and sensations that you have too, and they managed to survive, or not, right? But for better or worse, they went through the same struggles. And knowing that you're not the only one, that this has happened in the past, that it will happen again in the future, other people will also go through that thing that you've gone through. It's almost inevitable. To me, that can make a huge difference in how things feel and how overwhelming they be. For somebody, try it. Really try this. Next time you're struggling with something, think, well, other people have been through this as well. I always feel it leads to a sense of relief of, yeah, I'm not the only one. Others were able to bear this, were able to do this. I can bear this too. And this is a beautiful one, right? The Stoic concept of sympathia, that a human being has close kinship with the whole human race, not a bond of blood or seed, but a community of mind. We are all connected. Not just the humans, but the humans and the animals, humans and trees, humans and plants. We're part of a massive system of immense complexity. We're all part of that. And trying to picture yourself as part of that much larger whole, I think, can also make a big difference in how we feel things, how we experience things. And you have forgotten this too, that every man's mind is God and has flowed from that source. The Stoics believe that the great universe, the Logos, was one massive, coherent whole, a unity, and that you quite literally received a shard of that massive cosmic awareness called the Logos spermatikos in Greek, the seminal Logos. So quite literally, you receive a shard of that universe, and that becomes your consciousness. Well, these days we would say, well, we did, right? But molecules inside us were forged in dying stars and were sent out to the universe, and they became us. So in a way, it's actually true, which I find kind of fascinating. That nothing is our own property, but even our child, our body, our very soul have come from that source. Right? Everything you have, it's not really yours. It's yours to take care of for a while. And sometimes you have to let things go. You may not like that, but it's the way of the universe. Nothing, literally, lasts forever. Stars die. Planets collide. Things happen. and that all is as thinking makes it so. This one we've covered a number of times before. It's not the things that affect you, it's how you think about those things. That each of us lives only the present moment, and the present moment is all we lose. When we start to think about our lives as a collection of successive moments, some things become easier. Because you can be heart-wrenchingly sad about something, but it will last a few moments. It will end, and then you move forward and you progress again. Some moments are good and some moments are bad, and hopefully you have many more good moments than bad moments. But no matter what your life is like, there will be bad moments. It's inevitable. But there will be moments. Some may last a longer time, others a shorter period of time. But try that. A succession of moments. Fretting doesn't change anything. Worrying doesn't change anything. And these, I think, are all excellent strategies to stop yourself from worrying. Because no matter how much you worry about something, that will never change the situation. Interesting thoughts. Let me know what you think. Hope this was interesting, maybe useful. I'll gladly see you again next week for more talk about Stoicism. Bye.